Alright, that's your favorite sock. We're going to learn how a worm moves. So I've got some worms here. I'm going to do a close-up on those guys in a little bit. But let's talk about how a worm moves. Do they have legs? No, they don't have legs. These things that I've got on my worm puppet here, those are not legs. Those are really exaggerated setae. And setae are little bristles that worms have on each one of their segments. So they can push them out like cat claws when they want to hold on and grip, and they can pull them in when they want to slither and slide. So these are helpful in locomotion. But worms aren't really walking around. So how are they moving? Are they moving in an S pattern like a snake? Or are they moving like an inchworm where they hunch their body over and then they stretch out? Nope. They're not moving either of those ways. They're actually using hydraulics. Yep, just like those bouncing cars that you see, it's water under pressure. So worms have lots of muscles, actually. They have muscles that go around their bodies this way, and they have longitudinal muscles. Those are long muscles that go up and down their bodies this way. So when a worm gets ready to move, they're going to squeeze those circular muscles, and all that juice from juicy worms has to go somewhere. Just like if you were going to squeeze a water balloon, all that water has to go somewhere. So we squeeze those muscles. Everybody grab the front of your sock. Ready? Here goes our juice. And now we're long and stretched out. And we'd be stuck like that if we didn't have longitudinal muscles. So we can contract those and scrunch back up again. Now the reason it's kind of hard to show that motion on our arm is because we have something worms don't have inside our arm. What is that? Bones, right? We are vertebrates. We have bones. We have a spine. We have bones. Worms don't have bones at all. So it makes it really easy for a worm to kind of move the way they do, this squeeze and squirt action. Squeeze, squirt, squeeze, squirt. They can get around lots of obstacles. They're really, really agile. It would be hard for us to kind of contort ourselves around rocks in the soil. You could try to move like a worm if you want to. That might be kind of fun. You might have seen people dancing and doing the worm. It's kind of more of an inchworm. What about the slime on a worm's body? What's that about? Does it help with locomotion? It does, doesn't it? They're wet so they can move around things too. And that stuff, that wetness on the outside of their body, is mucus. It is the same thing that's inside your nose. Now, inside our nose, it's protecting us from getting a really dry, cracked nose, and it's also keeping germs from getting into our body. So on a worm, it's a little different. Worms have mucus so that they can not die. They actually need water on their skin. That's how they get oxygen, because they don't have lungs like you and I. They aren't breathing. They're getting oxygen from water on their skin. And that comes from the mucus. Isn't that cool? Worms are just really cool. So I'm going to do a close-up of these worms here in just a minute so you can see that squeeze squirt action. I'm going to see if I can round one up here real quick. They're escaping. There they are. I'm going to make sure I get it out very carefully because I don't want to hurt its little body. It's important to be respectful, even in worms. So there they are. See this end right here? I don't know if you can see it this far away, but this end that's a lot more red than this end, this is where the hearts are. And the hearts are closer to the head than the tail. They have 5 hearts, by the way. So if we get him warmed up a little bit here, we may start to see him do, he or she, do the squeeze squirt action. It's kind of feeling around. Now the way that we could tell the head from the tail, another way that we could tell is if they're an adult, they have something called a clitellum. That's a smooth part that looks kind of like a saddle. And it's closer to the head than the tail is. Or, here's a joke. This was told to me by a 2nd grader. How do you tell the head from the tail? You tickle the middle and you see which end laughs. Ha, funny, right? So I will get a zoom in on these guys so you can see how they're moving. And I want you to go find your favorite worm. See if you can see how they move. Thanks for watching.